Alright guys, I'm going to do a little installation preparation video for the Inline Fabrication Flush Mount with the quick change system for my lead Loadmaster. As you can see, I have some guides that I made here to stop the plunge router from going outside of where it needs to go. I've already kind of done the preparation. I just made it so where the blade would stop pretty close to the line, not right on the line, so I have some kind of wiggle room to work with. But don't ignore this part right here. I was thinking about making the whole plate flush with the end of the table, the edge of the table, but I decided I don't want to do that now, so it's just going to go to about here. This is the flush mount. You can see it'll go about right there, and it's going to hang off about 1.5 inches so that you have room to use these little wing nuts that go here. This is the quick change plate that will be attached to my lead Loadmaster, and then I'll just slide it in here, and it drops down through those holes here, and then the wing nut goes on right there. Right, so that's why there's a little bit of hang off, so you have room to use those. So what I'm going to do is use a plunge router at 7/16 of an inch, which is what Inline Fabrication says to do, and that should make it pretty flush with the table. Alright, so I have this scale browned plunge router set to about 7/16 of an inch. Not sure you can see that very well. And what I did after I set it is I took, just the flush mount and just kind of put it flat against the blade to see if it's about right, and it feels pretty flush. Could maybe go down just a hair more, but I think it's going to be pretty good, at least initially. We can always kind of do some fine-tuning later. Full disclosure, I have never used one of these before, so hopefully I don't butcher it too much. I've got eyes and ears on, and make sure everything's tight. Actually, that was loose, so hopefully that showed right earlier. Okay. Here we go. Pretty well. Got a few more things to cut out, and then I think we'll be done. Alright, so there's some kind of rough parts that I didn't get quite all the way down. I have to smooth those out a little bit. So I didn't go all the way to the lines because I didn't want to go over. So I'm gonna have to kind of do some of this by hand, I think, just a little bit. That's pretty tight right there. Just gotta go in a tad. Alright, so got this 80 grit sanding block. I'm going to see if I can get just enough of the edges smoothed out for that to fit properly. Just made the guide go directly to where the line was, but I was afraid of overdoing it, having it look bad. So I'll just take my time and kind of inch it in. I think I'm pretty close. Getting there. It's going down a little bit now. Close. It's not pretty, but we're getting there. Alright, I think that's about as good as I think it'll need to be. Let's check the plate. Looks good. They do say they want you to route another 1/16 of an inch back here, which I can see why, because it needs some room to kind of go down and then in. Router, I don't think. I think I'm just going to try because it's not a lot that needs to come out. I'll just try a trusty little sanding disc here. Drill the holes for the bolts that are going to go through the table. Okay, so I got my power drill here, the 1/4 inch Ryobi bit here. I'm just going to drill all the way through the table because it's just going to be put on with these countersunk flat bolts. I got 2.5 inches just because my tabletop is 1 3/4 of an inch. I just want to make sure I had enough room for the fender washers and the nuts and whatnot on the bottom. So hopefully you can see that. I just got them at Lowe's. I got 6 of them just in case I needed some extras for some reason. And that's what it looks like there. Should work pretty well, I think. Just gonna clamp it down a little bit just to make sure it doesn't move, or at least iron that's under my table. So, and that goes all the way along the table. So I'll have to figure out how to address that. It's just barely into the 2x4, so my washers and the nuts aren't able to fit on there. So alright guys, so I got the bolts in with the fender washers and the nuts. I basically just, for those of you that care, I just used this to kind of drill out a channel. I kind of went at an angle since the bolts were basically hitting the edge of my 2x4 frame below the table. And then I used a chisel and kind of chiseled out a little channel kind of across the 2x4 for the fender washers to fit in, and it fits great. So I got these all tightened down. This is rock solid as far as I can tell. As you can see, my lines for the flush mount were not perfect, but that was my first time using a plunge router and doing something like this ever, so yeah, not the greatest, but I'm okay with it. So now I'll take these off real quick, these clamps, and then go from there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is put the top plate that goes to the Loadmaster or whatever press you're using or whatever device you're connecting it to. And we'll put that on and then see how everything goes. So this is the hardware that they include. Kind of countersunk bolts, 3 nuts, 3 washers that will all go on these 3 pieces here. So the plate goes on this way. And also guys, real quick, so the instructions that come with the flush mount and the top plate for the Loadmaster were really confusing to me. I read over it a couple times and I couldn't figure out what it was talking about until I realized that this was for the ultra mount that's raised up and has legs, and I guess you have to assemble a little bit. Pretty much most of this up until about here-ish is for a mount that for the raised ultra mount. So I just had to kind of figure it out with what I had. I mean, it's fairly simple. So anyway, if Inline Fabrication watches this, that would be my only suggestion so far, is maybe slightly better instructions. Put them online on your website if you don't want to print them off every time. People can refer to them whenever they need to. It'd be great. Anyway, so get this bolt in there. Get the other one. In there. And they do go, the heads go on the bottom because they're countersunk into the metal. I don't know if you can see that. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure it's fairly obvious if you're working on it. Get your washers on there. I'm going to put a nut on it real quick just to kind of hold it down. Alright, so I'm just getting to backtrack for a second. I made a little goof. I forgot to install this angled bracket that came with my press. Or I'm sorry, that came with the plate for my press. This is going to connect to this piece, which comes with the Loadmaster. This is what goes on to, this is where the completed bin, the little red bin that holds your completed rounds, catches them. This will connect to this. That's what the one picture right here is talking about. So do that real quick, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we're going to now put on this bracket washer and the nut for this angled bracket that Inline Fabrication provided with the flat mount. I'm sorry, the top mount for my press. There is a certain way you have to put this bracket on, that I found out, so that the holes on this bracket that came through press match up with the holes on here. They look very similar, but one side is slightly different than the other. So just make sure you check that before you put those on. Out enough right there, but it works. Okay, so now we got this piece here that put on with the nuts. Flush mount was getting in the way, me being able to put that nut on. Okay. Oops. Need that same Allen head to hold these nuts on, or these bolts on, as you tighten them down. I think she's done. Yeah, that feels really solid. I think this is going to be an awesome setup. Anyway, I think that's it, guys. Everything's installed. You'll put your, like I said, you'll put your bin here. It'll catch your completed cartridges and be on your way. So this is my first video, guys. Sorry it may not have been the best quality or on point, but hopefully be doing some more and I'll get better as I go. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please let me know. Thanks.